Well, good morning, everyone. We are back once again with the Analytics Coffee Club. And all four of us are here today just to make sure that we've got all the angles to every argument that you could possibly have. We've already had a discussion this morning. I think Rob and Stephen are at odds about certain implementations. Montana is super laid back because, he lives in California. So it's like, yeah, everything's fine. Use Linux. That's kind of your default position, isn't it? So joining me is Stephen Ball. Stephen, your job is...
I'm a pre-sales director for the division I do.
Yeah, a few weeks in now, and you think I'd memorize it, but no, that's not what my brain doesn't work like that. It remembers things like how many apples I've eaten or something bizarre like that. And also joining us as well is Rob Jones. Hi, Rob. You're a pre-sales engineer, is that right? Or
all sorts of things, and anything with engineering it will do.
Yes, and then rounding
Swiss Army knife.
Yes, exactly. And then rounding off the contingent is an American, I, despite the accent, I too am an American citizen. But it does sound rather overwhelmingly British with us, and that's Montana. Hello, Montana.
Hey, Montana. I will say that. No, hey guys. And I'm glad everyone is here, and obviously glad that you're proud to be an American. That's fantastic.
I am.
That's
fantastic.
Man. You mentioned that every episode. I'm seriously. You mentioned that every episode, and that's great. Honestly.
Look, the way that I approach this is I actually technically they describe me as an American by choice, which I think is a very cool idea. And
that is cool.
That is that the United States chose me because you have to go through a process, and they validate you and make sure you're not going to attack, the Twin Towers or something. I definitely wouldn't do it. I mean, it's a bit late now, but you know what I mean. But also that
I chose. Too busy playing Mortal Kombat, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm too busy doing Spock signs and telling everybody they should be logical and stuff like that. But yes, I mean American by choice, and I know you can argue about politics. We don't go into that. There's all sorts of people that can do all the arguments way better than us. But I am proud to be an American. I'm proud to be British. I'm a dual national as well. But it's the United States is where I live. I live in Frisco, north of Dallas in Texas. Enjoying the wonderful weather, unlike the Brits, who apparently it's raining.
I must admit, I did a little bit of research on where Rob used to work, and boy, they have a lot of trinkets there. I haven't seen so many trinkets at a place you shop at in a while.
I should get the picture of where I used to live when I lived in the UK, because I used to live opposite a castle. It's so cool for Americans. I used to live in Warwick. If either Stephen or Rob know, I used to live in Castle Street in Warwick, opposite the castle. I used to open my windows, and there was the castle. And I've got an aerial view of the castle with an arrow pointing to the house I'm living at. Americans go, "No, you didn't live there. It looks like a museum." I'm like, "Yeah, that's just a regular house. Welcome to the UK." Yeah, but I've lived in weird other places like Milton Keynes, which looks like an American city. So there you go.
Outside my door, there's a barbecue stand. There's there's nothing cool like a castle. So
outside my door is the Swedish national football team practicing. They're down at the end of my road in the stadium, cool. Because the National Soccer Museum of the United States is based here. I live at the end of my road is the Dallas Cowboys training ground and their headquarters, actually. So I have Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders living in my apartment block. So welcome to my little window. I've never
been to Texas, but I do plan on going. So
yeah, it's a cool place. I've been to California, so no, but mainly Seattle. It's don't count.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's been to California.
Yeah, you live in Palo Alto or something like that, don't you? So you are super techie Californian. It's so cool. So
yeah, I would say it's probably the opposite nowadays. But anyways, moving on.
Oh, here we go. We're going to open the whole gentrified can of worms, aren't we? Well, let's move on. Let's focus on the topic. So today, let me bring up our slideshow. So to speak, makes it sound like I've eaten it or something, but yeah, I think you guessed what bring up. I will display our slideshow on the screen.
Very cool.
Do that and make sure we're still visible. No, we don't want it like that. We want it like that. There you go. That's
Perfect. Ian.
open. I'll probably move that barcode out of the way because we do seem to. Come on, barcode. Oh, well, it won't let me hide that barcode. Isn't that great? So often there you go, isn't it? So often these barcodes that come up, I don't know whether you guys can actually see it on the preview, but the user interface on this thing that we have works very well, but it seems to change because it's a web app, and so they can change it without anything being updated on my machine. So there you go. Okay, so enough waffling from me. Today we are talking about embedded analytics, and that means that it's interesting to you if you are an independent software vendor or something like that, and you actually want the analytics to become part of your ecosystem of software, or maybe you just want to have it in some kind of intranet in your company and have it accessible there. Maybe you just want to have it so that you've got some charts and graphs and statistics or whatever showing in one particular area as a kind of available dashboard on your network. Could be public, it could be private, it just depends on how you want to do it. But embedded analytics kind of takes away the overall part of the Yellowfin Chrome, I suppose, or even though it's not Chrome, and makes it become more of your own. You're able to make it become part of you and work the way you want. And it's one thing that Yellowfin is very, very good at doing. Have I summarized that correctly, guys? Is that,
sounds pretty good.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's almost like I know what I'm doing. Yeah, almost.
No.
So every Thursday we're here at the same time. If you're watching on Yellowfin on YouTube, if you click on the subscribe button, that would be very helpful, and click on the like as well, because apparently, even though I say to people we don't care about the likes, I've had a chat with some Google people, and we really do care about the likes, because apparently that helps the algorithm, and they said, why are you saying don't worry about the likes? Apparently it's quite important as well. So click on the like button and the subscribe button. We won't know who you are, but you will get notified when we go live. If something happens and we have to start late or something bizarre like that, you'll get notified as well. We won't know who you are, but at least you get a notification to say, hey, they're talking again. It also means that if you miss it because you're in a different time zone, or you're in a meeting and you can't make it, or you're doing something random like learning sword fighting in some kind of sword fighting fencing club, or whatever it is that you're doing, maybe lying on the beach, you'll get a notification, and then at some point you'll also be told by YouTube, when you go into YouTube, oh, here's a recording, so you can go back and rewatch the recording as well. So there's multiple reasons to subscribe. None of us here get paid any extra. We don't even get any thanks, because we are well underappreciated, I'm sure. But we won't get anything if you subscribe, and neither will the company. They won't know who you are. So it's a completely safe way of subscribing and get notifications. So that would be cool if you could do that. And today, Maria's not with us, but we've already introduced who's there. And my name is Ian, and you can get hold of me. I have got it up as a caption here. If you want to email us or contact us, you can email me directly at ian.barker@idera.com, and I'll make sure the right people get notified of whatever you've got to say. If you've got a suggestion for something you'd like to see us do, please let us know. We're definitely interested. We want to make sure that this is useful. If you think we're doing something wrong, like Ian's talking too much, for example, please let us know and we'll adjust it. They'll put a little piece of tape across my mouth or something like that, or mute my microphone. But also, if you're interested in talking to us, or if you're interested in Yellowfin as well, Yellowfin Business Intelligence, or BI, go to yellowfinbi.com. That's actually the host site. And if you're not watching on YouTube, that is where you can find us. We've got two YouTube channels, and our official one is Yellowfin BI-official. There's a technical reason why we got two, but eventually it will just be this one. So subscribe on that channel. Okay, who wants to kick us off with what is embedded analytics?
Yeah, I think this is a quick overview of where we're going today. We're just going to have a discussion around what embedded analytics is, have a bit of a discussion about why you want to have embedded analytics, and what to kind of look at. One of the kind of the key questions we often get asked is, okay, this is all good, but how do we kind of make this successful for us as a business? So road mapping your path to having embedded analytics, some tips and tricks there, and what to kind of do. And then we're also going to hopefully have a bit of time to be able to talk about the Yellowfin API, which just talks about the way that we do embedded analytics. And there's a few little bits to learn there and some useful resources to point to. So that's really kind of the plan for the session today. If we head on, we can get straight onto that. What is embedded analytics? And basically, embedding analytics is making sure that your analytics really is happening where you're working. It's great to have analytics. It's really useful to be able to understand what your business is doing and make decisions based on that. I know we've spoken a lot in previous analytics coffee clubs about the need to make decisions and to make timely decisions, and some of the content that works there. But having those analytics inside your applications and embedding it into the workflows that you're working on is a really important part. And we kind of see the embedding part really coming where we're reducing down the context switching. You don't want to be in the middle of doing something and then going, oh, I've got an idea about something, and stopping what you're doing, going off somewhere else to try and go find the answer, and then come back. If you're anything like me, if you do that too much, you start forgetting what you were doing in the first place and kind of get sidetracked and never actually kind of get most of the stuff done that you want to get done. So it's about trying to make sure you can do what you need to do in a quickly, timely manner without distracting away from what you're trying to do in the first place. You want to get that injection of information and push it forward. And that's there's a couple other points in there that kind of come back to that. It's about real-time insight. It's about self-serving and being able to collect that information yourself rather than having to go in and say, oh, I've got an idea about something here. Let's go and ask the analytics team, and then wait 24 hours or 36 hours for them to come back to me, by which time I've forgotten why I asked for that in the first place. It's about embedding it into the workflows and what you're doing.
Or getting the information sent to you and it's not what you want. So you have to go back and say, please, sir, can I have some more?
Yeah.
Oliver reference there, but yes. I mean, this is the thing. It's about giving people control over what it is they want to see, and also being able to improve that kind of feedback loop of that's not quite what I wanted. That's it's empowering people. I know that's a bit of a cliched phrase, and I hate myself for saying that, but empowering people to get what they want out of this. And this is really the whole crux of Yellowfin is control, both in the sense of controlling who's got access to the data and what kind of data they can get to, so that the wrong people don't get the wrong amount of information. Sometimes it's not even about security breaches. Sometimes, let's say it's to do with payroll, for example. Most people will consider their wages to be private information. So it's okay to do an aggregation of how many people do we have in each department, in each role or something like that. But what you don't want to know is that Jim Smith is earning this much compared to that much, because you've got access to the entire payroll data or HR data or something like that. But you do want to say, oh, okay, what you've given me is great, but I want to have something a little bit more narrowed down or a little bit more graphically rich. You've given me a table, but I actually wanted a chart. Stories, my favorite feature of Yellowfin by far. Have stories as a weekly report. You know, those TPS reports that we hate from Office Space. Oh my God, you know, you've got to produce a kind of explanation of what it is you're doing every week or did last week. Yellowfin can help you automate that, and with embedded analytics, it's in front of you, it's there, and likewise, it's in front of your customer if you're embedding it into your products. If you're an independent ISV, independent software vendor, you can bolt in the analytics, and it's almost like a free upgrade to your own software. You can put the analytics in, and look, now your product has analytics. In that product, your product can be completely unrelated to analytics, but if analytics fits into the overall want factor of your customer, the desirable features list, add analytics. It's simple to do.
Yeah, I think that kind of ties into the last couple of points that were just on that previous side about, you know, making sure that it's you know, the inherited security. I know we spoke about governance a lot in our last session, so if you missed that one, definitely worth going back and having a watch. But having all that kind of tied in and built through is what makes embed analytics possible and safe to use, because you know, without that governance layer, then you kind of you're really struggling. Now, as we go through today, we will talk about the API driven side of things and what that actually means, because there's many different types of things that you want to do when you're embedding analytics into your workflows, and we'll discuss a little bit about how you can.
We're going to show some demos as well, right? I think we're actually going to show some live demos.
Well, we'll hopefully have some time to pick up a live demo a little bit later as well. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
I know Montana's been working quite a lot on some stuff recently, and we've got a coffee themed demo that we might be able to pull up as well. And show you some.
I'm doing a lot of embedding lately.
Yeah, I haven't had my coffee this morning, despite my bounciness.
But I think, you know, one of the key things that is listed there for ISVs, and you lightly touched on it there, Ian, is you know, as we kind of go through, we'll be talking a little bit about the why you want to embed analytics, and the whole monetizable feature side of things is something that's really important for ISVs, which is why we have you know, a huge amount of our customers are actually ISVs who are understanding that embedding analytics into their product actually helps them grow their business. You know, I worked for well over a decade running an ISV, and we specialised in the leisure industry, and it was great. We used to go and talk to all these different customers, find out all the really cool ideas they had. I'd then productize those ideas and then sell their ideas back to them. And they're going, oh, that's great. And then once you've made these great stuff, you're then able to go and sell it to other people as well, you know, a little bit later on. And you then grow your customer base. So you're getting this broader scope of really, really good ideas, which you then bring back in, and you pick the best ones, you productize them and sell them back to them. And that's the business model of an ISV. And genius. Without the analytics side of it,
evil genius, I think you meant to say there, Montana.
Yeah, evil genius, but genius nonetheless.
But,
your imaginary
yeah. So I was doing Mr. Burns, wasn't I? Yeah, the whole point of that, though, is that without the analytics, you lose all that knowledge that you can generate out through the reporting side of things. And that's really where the embedded side of things comes really important, because if you're doing that all into Power BI or into, you know, Tableau or something else that's external, then you're not generating that value into your business, which you can then go and monetize and sell on to other people, which is kind of probably bringing us into our next section of why. But I think before we kind of get onto that, I think Rob had added in a little bit of context here around a couple of different patterns for embedding. So, Rob, did you want to chat on those?
Yeah, so really just building on what you were saying, Stephen, about how there's kind of, for me, two ways of looking at embedding. And I think I've touched on this briefly either last week or the week before, but there's the kind of what you can, as a software engineer, I might almost call the physical side of embedding, although obviously it's really just bits and bytes, but where you're embedding content within your application, and it's all about trying to actually present the information in the context of some kind of web app, and that's kind of where pattern A is coming from, about taking content and actually putting it into your application. But if you take a step back from the kind of the mechanics of how you make it happen, really what that's all about, say, well, what are we trying to do? It's back to that point about trying to figure out what your business users need to see in order to make better decisions. What is that information? When do they need to see it? And then really taking all the friction away so that they can get that insight at the time they need it in order to make those better decisions. Because, we're all humans, and if we make it difficult to consume the information, we're not going to. It's just not going to happen. We'll just go with gut feel and make a decision, and that might be good, it might be bad, but it's inconsistent and it's unpredictable. If you want to get consistently good decisions, you really need to figure out how to put the right information in front of them so they really can't escape it, and then they're much more likely to use it in making the decisions and unlocking that business value. So yeah, having figured out what it is they need to see, your application is presumably about helping them to do it. And if you then embed the right analytics, so charts, reports, and so on, putting it in the context of what they're actually doing, then that's one approach to delivering it, and that works really well when it works really well. But then there's other times when what you're trying to do is it's a bit more open-ended, and they need information, but you really can't say exactly what information they need. And it's more about providing some kind of analytics module, so extending your product offering, perhaps with analytics. You don't necessarily want to build it all yourself. In fact, you probably don't want to build it all yourself. Why would you when you could get Yellowfin? But you might want to make it look like you built it all yourself, and that's where the white labeling feature comes in. And really, this is the pattern B. So you start within your application, and the trigger says, right, I need to know a bit more about X. I press the button in the application, and you can take the user straight into Yellowfin, single sign-on, so they don't have to re-enter their credentials and whatever. Take them to the right report based on what you know about what they were trying to do at the time, or the right dashboard, or the right bit of functionality within Yellowfin, so exactly the right place. And you can make Yellowfin look as though it's it's homegrown, it's part of your application using style sheets and so on. So it feels seamless. It's part of it extends the experience.
It looks like it belongs. That's the thing. It doesn't look like you've taken something and bolted it in, and oh look,
yeah,
here's
exactly.
a different weird page. I mean, we've all gone to sites where that kind of thing is like, what's this? Like, I don't know, Jira, for example, is one example I can think of. But making it belong to your application is a key thing. And I can't emphasize this enough, that actually that kind of thing, the single sign-on, these are what I call lifestyle features. Or really peace of mind features, because the last thing you want is every time they click on a tab where you've got your analytics, for example, let's say your application's laid out so it's got tabs or sections like a menu or something, and they click on the tab that's the analytics bit, and then they've got to sign in again. It's frustrating. I mean, banks are very good at having this kind of structure where you have to sign in multiple times. Thank God, for biometrics, it makes life a lot easier. But single sign-on is a very underrated capacity, I think, in some pieces of software. And also, doesn't it really speak to the kind of roundedness of what Yellowfin is? This is a solution that's kind of, we've been there, oh, you've got this set of circumstances, we've been there, we know that, we understand that. Over the years, the product has matured to actually cope with that particular scenario and deal with it well, because otherwise we go out of business, and there's this scenario, yes, we've also come across that. Single sign-on, that was a pain point for people having to log in. You've got an embedded, now you've got to remember your Yellowfin login. No, that doesn't happen. If you've got a login for your own software as an independent software vendor, then once they log in, Yellowfin gets logged in or gets authenticated with that single sign-on as well. So it's great. It's a great underrated feature, I believe.
I agree. I think it's very much it can be one of those friction points, and if you can take it away, that's great. And if you can't take it away completely, then you can at least make sure that signing onto Yellowfin uses the same credentials that you use to your application, so it's not something else to remember, and that kind of thing. So yeah, minimizing the friction associated with it. With Yellowfin, you don't have to make them sign in again unless you want to, and if you want to, just think about how to make it as low friction as possible.
It's a quality of life feature. That's what I call it.
Yeah.
It's about improving, your day. We don't want to make your day crappy kind of thing, by giving you a feature and then making it awful to use. No, this is about improving your quality of life when it comes to actually using the product.
And then so there's the 3 patterns on this slide, and sort of filling out your options, and you can mix and match these. There's no rule that says, oh, you have to choose pattern A and stick to it, or pattern C and stick to it. You can use them in combination, but pattern C is really just making you aware of the ability to build a whole application in Yellowfin. So and why might you want to do that? Well, often, certainly when it was more in an enterprise context, but I can see how it would apply to ISV scenarios as well. Where what you're building is essentially analytics for the most part, and then there's a bit at the end where you actually then apply those analytics somewhere. You can build a whole application within Yellowfin often using dashboard code mode to actually make it really look like an application. You can style it, you can add your own functionality, you can have forms, you can integrate with other applications and so on. So you can actually build the whole thing. In the past it would have been often you'd build a report and it's like, that's great, I've got a report, but now what do I do with the answers? I have to go and open up some other application to do it. Again, back to the single sign-on, it can work the other way around as well. You can go straight into that other application and do single sign-on into it very often. Obviously, that app has to be enabled for single sign-on, but many apps are. And if you've already got Salesforce or some other SaaS application sitting open within another window, very often you'll be able to go straight into that from Yellowfin using just a hyperlink from there. And you can be taken to the right place in that other application, passing context from the analytics that you were looking at. And that context preservation in both directions, whether it's coming into the right place in Yellowfin or taking that context of what you're looking at in your report or your chart and then feeding that into the target application, that's really powerful. And so you can use them in combination. So what you might find is you're in your application and you reach the point where you say, right now, I need a little series of dashboards that I want to step through. You launch Yellowfin, go through your series of dashboards, and at the end, you might then go off to another place via integrate with a third application, passing in the context of, well, this is the product I was looking at, and this was my decision, and just open up that other app to confirm the decision, make it happen. And then potentially go back to the way you started and do it for the next product and that kind of thing. So that's your kit bag. Mix and match as you feel free.
How very British of you. Here's your kit bag.
Off we go.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Okay, so my mouse has stopped working. Hello, mouse. Hi. Oh. Okay, hang on a minute. My mouse just talk amongst yourselves for a second about, I don't know, the weather or something.
What branded mouse do you have? No, I'm kidding.
Actually, it is a SteelSeries mouse, but it normally warns me when it's running out of battery, but apparently it's decided not to do that. And so I just need to put some batteries in. I also have a USB mouse as my stunt mouse in case this kind of situation happens. But it is on the other desk. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. Well, I think what we can do is we can talk a little bit about why embedded analytics matters. And, we've had a quick look here at the different patterns. And whilst we're kind of waiting to move on the slides, I don't know if your right hand mouse button works, your keyboard button works. I don't know if that works. But embedding analytics in is really important because whichever pattern you're using to kind of get in and get going, it could be that you want to do something very simple just to get up and going and bring some of that value in. And then, as we talk about in the roadmap section about how you can increase that over time. But by getting analytics embedded into your workflow, you're able to drive a much higher adoption rate And one of the biggest challenges for any organization bringing analytics into their workflows is about user adoption. You've got to make it easy for users to be able to pick it up and bring it into what they do to start getting the value from it. Because if it's disruptive to what they do, then people won't pick up and use it. They'll prefer methods that are simpler and easier for them. And it may not provide the best value back to the company, or you might have invested a lot to have something that's really, really good. But if it's not where your users are, then you've got a big issue. So embedding in really does help drive that adoption, makes a much quicker return on investment, enables decisions to be made a lot quicker, and it's going to impact the business in a very, very positive way. So I think the next in, we've got a couple of bits that have come back from some research that we've run out and looked around before the session today. But there's a huge amount being spoken about in the market around embedded analytics and the importance of doing it.
So mouse update. Yeah. It's my motherboard. It's my motherboard.
Oh no!
It's fine. I can drive it.
I would say reboot, but
if I do that, it's going to be a problem. But it's so weird. I heard a bling blong, and I'm like, oh, something disconnected, and it's actually the bit that my mouse connects to on the motherboard. So I'm gonna plug in a USB in a moment and work it out. Well, I can drive it on the keyboard. It's okay. We have, I have other technology that can cope. Rob's having his wife come in and tell him off for doing something.
No, I'm getting an unexpected delivery of dessert, which.
Oh, that would be just perfect. My dog is asleep, so he's not going to bring me any dessert. So. Anyway, I'll deal with my mouse in a moment. I've got a USB one, so it's not a problem.
Are we able to move on to the next slide?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, brilliant. Because just for the mouse update, we're talking about adoption, and these are a few different sources that I managed to kind of get back to, and it was quite insightful really to look at, especially Forrester and Gartner have been talking about embedded analytics for a number of years and the value of it and where it's going to be driving value through. A Forrester report showing 30% revenue increase for companies that are implementing embedded analytics. That's quite a sizable chunk. When companies are looking at how they can improve their margins, being able to improve 30% is very, very big. 40% of enterprise apps, Gartner are predicting will have AI agents by the end of the year. One of the big drivers around AI agents is to understand the business and operate the business in a much faster way. So if you're going to be instructing and pushing actions to happen, you sure want to know why you're doing that in the first place. And having embedded analytics connected through is a very, very important part of that. And I think one of there was an independent survey that was done by Global Growth Insights, and they were saying 66 to 68%. So I'm not sure if they mean 67 or somewhere in between, but they're saying enterprises are actively using embedded analytics or pushing for embedded analytics to improve their workflows. And with that 30% increase in revenue, and going back to what we spoke about governance-wise last time out, with that big drive for AI and making sure that you've got that security by design and all that kind of good stuff that goes with it, with all the governance and the legislation you need to abide by, having something off the shelf that just works and covers everything you need to do is a very safe way of being able to do that and adopt it and get it going very, very quickly and start generating that revenue. Going back to what we spoke about with ISVs earlier, it's very, very important to make sure that you're providing that value out to your customers, but also gaining that value into what you're doing as a team and being able to enhance and move forward.
So, you'll be pleased to know I've dug out a 12-year-old USB mouse, which was absolutely fine and cost about $12 compared to my $85 top of the range wireless mouse. So sometimes it isn't what you pay is what you get. It's technology. Look, I can go to different slides now. Whee! See, like we intended.
Okay.
So,
well, I was going to say, did anybody else want to chime in on anything about the adoption
sorry.
side?
There you go. Nobody wants to chime in. There you go.
No, I think
who could argue with Gartner and Forrester, but I mean, it's kind of in a way, it's kind of it feels like it's stating the obvious, which is, you know, if you don't use data, then you're just going to go out of business. So it's
right.
Yeah, I think it's kind of what you guys are all about, really, isn't it? You know, Yellowfin is all about the data. I think it's and the data as well. We've had a few episodes, well, certainly videos where we had people were helping get that data into Yellowfin as well. Worth mentioning. Data Do and Exasol and people like that, where they're able to sort of make that whole process a lot easier. Montana, isn't part of your job about kind of configuring all of that as well and helping people get to the point where, yeah,
it's that. And then just recently, I'm building a new demo dashboard, and that deals with embedding and dealing with data sources. So that is definitely a part of my one sliver of my job, but yes, that is definitely a part of my job for sure.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
So all right, I think it's a really good link into the next section, isn't it? It's almost like you knew it was coming up.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. No, I am.
So one of the things that we're really privileged about is, you know, we talk to a lot of companies who are going about getting data embedded and embedding kind of analytics into their workflows. We've got a lot of interesting stories from companies over the years who've been trying to do this. Things that worked well, things that haven't worked so well for them, and all those kind of learnings we've brought back and you know, worked with Rob very heavily on getting together a Yellowfin success planner document put together, which really helps ISVs who are going through their launchpad, and which is their kind of their first step of rolling out embedded analytics, where they're looking at building their products, what they need to put together. And there's a few things on here. I'm going to let Rob probably just talk a little bit on some of the kind of the key things from here, because he's been not only written a book on it, he's implemented a few BI systems over the years as well. So
written a book on it.
Dessert.
Why don't we have a link to that?
It's our internal book which we share out. So contact the sales people.
I see.
Put the book
so
together.
if it's internal, it's probably a picture book with drawings in it. So.
You're right. There are a lot of pictures in it. It's true, but there's also a lot
okay.
I mean,
Montana, you were going to say something there?
Oh, I said also, Rob's eating dessert. Why ruin that?
I know, right? We're spoiling him. Go for it, Rob.
So, I mean, it's kind of there on the slide to a degree, but I mean, what are we doing? Essentially, the process you step through is it's really important to figure out what it is that you want to use analytics for. So, you know, from day one, you can't do everything at once. So figuring out what are the areas of your business, which are the most important workflows, or which are the most important parts of your product, where you can add value with analytics. Make sure that you zero in on those. Talk that through with your stakeholders, whether that's your customers, prospects, or people within your business. Make sure that what you're going to or you think you can deliver will really add value. They're actually going to use it, because, you know, if you deliver something they don't want to use, then even if you haven't put any context switching or whatever, they still could choose not to use it in some cases. But you know, really making sure that you found that that high value use case, and then you go through the steps of designing it. Prototyping it is really useful. Showing it back to the people that are going to consume it, making sure they're comfortable with the way that you're presenting it to them, whether that's within something within Yellowfin or whether that's within your application itself. Make sure that the whole thing actually hangs together and they understand how it works and how it's going to add value for them, and then only then get to the point of actually building the real thing. So the building step where you really integrate it into your application, or where you actually deliver it through your production Yellowfin infrastructure, and then the launch piece is important too. So it's not just about build it and then get on with it. Thinking about explaining how it adds value, how to use it, and communicating that it's there. So again, it really depends. I mean, if it's in some cases it might be you're just adding a chart alongside the button where they make their decision, it's yes or no, and here's the chart that will support that decision. They're going to see that. But if it's more of the open-ended type scenario that we're talking about, so well, here is the analytics module, use it to inform your decision, then actually you've got more of a job to communicate with your users the kind of thing they might want to look at, and it's about, in that case, going out and making sure that they're fully aware of that functionality, they know what they could do with it, sharing the the positive stories about maybe what the early adopters have found and so on. So really thinking about how you can drive that adoption, because you put the hard work into building it, you want to make sure that it actually gets used and really delivers the value.
Yeah, so it's basically you want it to be a part of the everyday workflow, but then also where embedded decisions happen, the product becomes harder to replace, gets stickier, as they say.
Stickiness, that's the key thing. I mean, we're kind of really, this episode is really aimed at ISVs, I think, because it's probably the most relevant to them. I mean, there is a case for internal, use of embedding, but it's far more likely that our customer base, as we know, tends to be ISVs. That's a very significant proportion of the people that we work with are ISVs.
So that's brilliant. But I mean, the key thing here is it's absolutely relevant in an enterprise context too. And the important thing that to remember is that it's usually an enterprise who is ultimately consuming it. We might be talking to an ISV, but the ISV is then delivering something which is consumed in an enterprise, and that enterprise, those people still need to get the value out of it. It needs to be frictionless for them as well. So all the same concepts apply, whatever the use case.
But in an ISV context, I mean, Montana brings up a good point there, which is stickiness. If you're worried about customer retention, then the best way to improve customer retention as an ISV is to make sure people love what you're giving them. And really stickiness is about having a feature. I can't emphasize this enough. Embedding Yellowfin is an easy tick box for an ISV. If you're looking, at your quarterly roadmap, if you run roadmaps or even half yearly or yearly roadmaps, and you're saying, what things can we put in our product to make it remain attractive to our customer base? If embedded analytics makes sense in the context of what you're offering, if it doesn't, I don't know why you'd be watching this, but if it makes sense, and in most scenarios it probably does, this is a really easy thing for you to put into your product with a massive amount of plus points, and really fairly low friction in terms of understanding how to do it. It's not technically difficult. It's not going to be like an hour and a half of work, but it's not going to be months of work. And that's the key thing, that when you're looking at your roadmap of what can we do next, here's a bullet point on your sales slides, and your salespeople are going to love it. If you're selling software, if you're trying to make people stick with you, what can we give them next? You've got it sitting in front of you now, and that's the key thing. Should we go on to the API, or have I gone ahead?
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was gonna. So we've got we have got a coffee sample. I don't know if Montana might have that up and ready. We might be able to see if we could share his screen in a minute.
Let's look at the whites of his eyes and see how glaring they become.
Oh my god! No, I'm good. Yeah.
But yeah, and I know he uses it quite a bit. But there's a number of different things, and normally we do a product demo. We'd be like, "Oh, look at all the the features of functionality with Yellowfin, the drill throughs, and the tell me about my data and all the kind of really kind of cool stuff it does." But I think today we might pull it up and just try and pinpoint and highlight a few of the uses of the different kind of API stuff that's in there. So the one thing I would say is for any developers watching today, please go ahead and scan the QR code that's on the screen here. You sign up to the Yellowfin Sandbox. That is basically a free playground for developers to connect up to a set of sample data. So the Sandbox is not designed for you to be able to hook your own data into and go and do stuff, but we've got the Ski Team demo data, which is in a number of the videos that we've got online, goes through the Yellowfin University, which again, if you want to kind of get access to that, then just connect through to us and we can kind of get you access so you can start playing through and learning more about the product there. But from a developer's point of view, I remember when I started working with Yellowfin, I had no idea about how the product works, but I did know as a developer how to use an API. And I was able to pull together and write using, I used the SOAP API originally to create a single sign-on, to pull back a list of reports, to be able to show that list of reports in a native control in a Delphi application, to allow somebody to go and select it and then automatically load and show that report and the different filters around it, and programmatically change the filters based on the selected record that I had. And I was able to do that very, very quickly. The people who I spoke to originally at Yellowfin, they're like, "Oh, wow, this is amazing. You seem to know the product really, really well." I was like, "I've got no idea about the product. I couldn't put together a dashboard or anything, but I had the demo data to be able to use." And I see Montana's got his screen up there with the coffee sample. So, yeah, Montana, do you want to talk a little bit about what's in here and what we're kind of having a look at, and then maybe just pinpoint to the back end and the sample app that we have there?
You need to unmute yourself. You're muted. Still muted.
Still muted.
That was on course, on purpose, obviously. So
Yeah,
I do that a lot. It's a joke. I do it as a
I'm
bit.
going to deliberately mute myself.
I jokingly mute myself.
How great your hardware was, didn't you?
It's just a little bit that I do. So what we're looking at here is something that Rob has created. It looks really beautiful and very coffee-like, I must say. There's some, just basic KPI segments that you would expect any, well, at least for us, BI tool to have. We have some product categories, some holiday trends down here. But as Stephen was saying, for the backend stuff, let's go into the admin settings. And one thing I like to see is the external connections here. Maybe I don't have my chat GPT. Oh, I do.
Just be careful about showing keys. That's the only thing.
Yeah, there's no keys. There's no keys. What's cool here is that you can actually see when you use NLQ, and we'll get into NLQ on a later date, but what's actually going out into the LLM world and how kind of we do it and secure it is. And this is kind of the JSON payload. And this is one of the things I kind of like to show the more technically inclined people. So this is great. I find it great. Not a lot of people probably find it great. It's probably boring to them, but I find it amazing.
No, I mean, if you're an ISV, you're probably quite technical,
and you're wondering where your data is going when you're putting it into an LLM, right? And
exactly. Yeah,
exactly. So we're not going to get into really data sources today. Let's go back to my dashboards. It might be worth showing the embedded.
Yeah, so I think what we've kind of seen there is, we've seen some Yellowfin content within Yellowfin. And, one of the things we're talking about today is about embedded analytics. So Montana's just opening up here. This is a separate application. This isn't Yellowfin.
But
you can see it's got a lovely login screen that we've themed around.
Very coffee related. I like it. We should write a book, 50 Shades of Coffee.
Yeah. What is this? Is this a coffee show? So one thing to remember here, it's the exact same data, but it's just displayed completely differently. As you can tell, you would never know this is Yellowfin at any point. I mean, obviously the people who built it and put it together and did the embedding in JS API, hopefully on iframe, but that's just my bias, would never know that this is actually Yellowfin at all. They would just know that they log into this URL schema, and this is what they see every morning with updated analytics. And they would never know that Yellowfin is actually the engine running behind all of this.
And that kind of speaks to what I was saying about, look, if you are looking for a feature that you can bolt into your software with very low friction and looks like it belongs in your software, here it is. This could be in your product, and nobody would ever know you didn't write it. And if you don't tell your boss and somehow manage to pay
right.
you could just pretend that you wrote it, but I think that's probably stretching the metaphor a bit too far. But definitely, this is one of the things that excites me about Yellowfin. I always say this. I talk about, my job is to sort of be the link for many brands for Idea. We've got a lot of different brands, but I won't engage with a brand product that I don't believe in, because I can't be that fake, and I really think
you can be somewhat fake, but not that fake.
Fake about things that aren't important, but I have to believe in it in order to convey enthusiasm in a way that's genuine and is tangible. And I think people can see it in your eyes. I mean, I may be a very good liar, but I don't think I'm that good a liar, that people pick up on the little micro expressions and stuff like that. But I genuinely believe that this is a great product. And for an ISV, if you're an independent software vendor, look at what you can do. You can have all this in there with almost no effort. I'm not saying it's no effort. That would be untrue. But actually, and of course, some people got very complex sets of circumstances where they need to draw the data from, the kind of thing they need to visualize and stuff like that. That's what the likes of Rob and Montana exist for. Stephen is just, he's like the king. He just sits around in chairs and claps. Unlike Rob, who gets his dessert brought to him, Stephen, of course, would have it brought on a silver cushion and something like that. But Rob and Montana spend all their time doing this kind of thing for you. So they're the people that you would be probably interfacing with, and that's a cliche word, but talking to about getting this to happen. Don't try and justify yourself, Stephen. We know you are just a person.
This is really good.
No, he needs his crown changed. Okay, hold on. Be right back. No, I'm kidding, Steven.
Yeah.
So what's really great here is we're actually seeing on the screen here, there's elements that have been put together from the base application. There's also stuff that's being pulled back from Yellowfin, different reports that were displayed in different dashboards. So being able to select the ID of the specific report and embed that specific report into the workflows here. We've got REST services that are running in the background to be able to bring back a list of signals that are existing in the product and be able to list those in a way that's different to the UI, but in a way that fits into the workflow of this application. And we've got multiple
different APIs. The full functionality as well. You can pick as little of it or as much of it as you want, and it's all live. You can have live, data. These are not snapshots. This is not a spreadsheet that someone's garnered the information and embedded it in a spreadsheet and then handed it around. You've got absolute control over what you're seeing and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah, Ian, I've just shared my screen here quickly. I don't know if you can see that.
I don't see it shared at the moment.
No, I will.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
I will stop sharing. Oh, there we go.
Well, you don't have to. We have all sorts of power going on.
This is a separate application. This is a VCL Delphi application with an embedded browser in it. And you can see this black part here, the blue bar at the top. These are native Windows controls. And here we've got Yellowfin embedded in. So this is the full Yellowfin with the headers and everything disabled. So this here is kind of what I'd say is a cheap man's integration. I created a module link. I've got a few links to specific things like dashboards or timelines. So I can say, right, take me to the timeline, and it's then going to go and log me in so I can see what I've looked at over time here. But again, it looks like it's part of the application. I've got the full web application user interface there, but I'm not showing the log off button. I'm not showing the stuff that allows me to navigate away. So I can deeply embed that in and bring that rich functionality straight into the application without having to, So this is a really good way. I can go browse to different content. Again, this is just a standard entry point with single sign-on, allowing me to get into all the content and work through and use it directly from the application. So we've got a few different ways. I think maybe if we jump back to the slides, we can go and have a look at some of the notes around the API.
So I was looking at coffee, at Big Fish Coffee.
Cool.
I need to share the slides again. Just 1 second. Oh, come on. Now my mouse won't click on things. What?
That's what happens when you get AMD. No, I'm kidding, joking.
It's just so weird. Oh, hang on. I can use the keyboard to navigate. It's okay. There you go. I'm going to give up on the mouse. I don't know what's going on with my computer, but my mouse is my mice plural. Thank you, Windows. I should have used my Mac, shouldn't I? Montana would definitely be up for that idea as well.
I would 100% agree on that.
Okie dokie.
Do you want to move on to the next one?
Let's see if I can do it.
So, drum roll.
Yeah. Way.
So we've had the link up. It's free for developers to connect up to the sandbox. And when you sign up, you'll get an email sent through to you that's got links to code samples. It's got links to a guide that we put together to take you through the API. It gives you demo workflows, showing you what to call within the API. It talks about the difference between the REST API, the JavaScript API, and the SOAP API. It's got the REST API mapped out, showing you how to do different approaches for logging in and using the different tokens. So there's an application level token called a refresh token. Then you get the access token, which is a time limited token that then allows you to access and call the API. And then there's a login token, which once you've got your access token, because it's defined and linked to a specific user, you can then get a login token reference to that user. And that's a one-time use token. So anytime you want to log in, you just need to request a new login token. And as long as your access token is current, then you'll be able to get one for that user that you want to log into. And that allows you to do some pretty advanced stuff around single sign-on. With the embedding, you can actually create users directly through the API. And you can choose whether to set a password on those users or not. And if you don't create a password on the user, then the password being blank will block the user from logging in through the Yellowfin API. You'll only be able to log into them through the API rather than from the UI. So that gives you full control about giving access to people either through your application or externally to it as well. And obviously you can define what you want to do with that. The stuff that you get through when you sign up for the sandbox kind of gives you a good amount of information on those. The next slide just gives us a quick overview about the different APIs. We've seen a little bit of those in use. So the JavaScript API is predominantly what's being used in the coffee sample that we saw earlier. That's using the JavaScript to embed content directly into the web pages. You can use the REST API to programmatically access the data. And that's what we've done in one of the VCL applications, and even other web applications we've done. You kind of call the REST API in the background to go and get content that you want to use, and then you can then reference that into the JavaScript API if you want to as well. So the REST API is something that you'll probably use a lot in the background, and that's really, really good for doing kind of token exchange and doing the authentication and to do quick and dirty single sign-on. Obviously you can always start there and then expand out and use more and more of it. The example that I showed with the Delphi application just uses the URL with the login token. So it's a little bit like embedding everything into an iframe, which is something you can do, which I know makes Montana's skin crawl when he hears people kind of doing that.
Yes.
But there's different ways, and obviously if you want to do that and you want to ensure that it is only within a specific area and you provide more functionality out, it's a great way to get started and allows you to kind of get that immediate feedback in, and then put together a roadmap for expanding out and building specific functionality out based on the APIs that we've got here. And one of the as well.
Before we started, also we talked as well very briefly before we actually started broadcasting. It also copes with things like cores, for those of you that understand what cores is, and you can also decide whether or not that people can embed it. Is that correct? You can actually say, so that you don't get people going, oh, well, I see how this works, I'm going to go and hijack it and put it in my own app or something like that. You can actually, there's token control and all sorts of that as well. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I mean,
it's more the other way around here, because the browser will stop you from doing that unless you enable it within Yellowfin. You actually say
all I'm saying is that it's an all-round solution. That the advantage of having something that's actually pretty mature is that most of those little gotchas where some devious little so-and-so has gone, aha, I know how to gain access to this. I remember my days when I worked on Unix, and the key thing was trying to grab the root password, and I may or may not have written a few programs.
It's the alias click where you change CD to the RF alias.
All those things. And
kidding, not trying to give anyone new ideas. It's a joke. It's a joke.
But it's an all-round solution. It's got all the things you can want, and we also probably worth mentioning about white label. We've already, I think, talked about this, but absolutely everything can be styled, right? I mean, there's.
Well,
and I have to say, from styling Yellowfin a ton, it is just it's so flexible. So you can make it look like essentially anything you want, and with all the libraries you can pull in with charting, like Fusion charts, D3 and things like that. I mean, I mean, it's sky's the limit.
I must say, Montana developed a really cool app to be able to create custom login screens, like a WYSIWYG type of thing. So if anybody is watching and you want to get in contact this week, we will do a custom login screen for you. So just message through.
Hey, it only takes me like 2 minutes with this tool. So yes, please message
Don't
me.
tell them that. Make it sound like it's a lot of effort, and therefore they're getting something very expensive.
All right, it takes me so long to make.
There you go.
So,
the time doubles because he needs another coffee every time he does one.
Right.
There you go. 51 shades of coffee. Excellent.
Right. Exactly.
Okay. Good stuff. I think we kind of covered all the angles and talked about the important thing, and that is actually still on the screen. It's not covering anything up yet. Sandbox.yellowfinbi.com. I really strongly suggest you go there and try it out, because that's how I actually got familiar with the product, was play around with Sandbox. It's a nice, safe place. It does reset regularly, I think, as well, but so if you do set something up, don't rely on it. It's not meant to be a permanent free Yellowfin BI resource. It's there for you to play around with and see what you can get out of it, and it is quite comprehensive. When I played with it, I was able to do some quite interesting things. I love the product. I said this earlier on. I genuinely like it. I think it's extremely powerful. If I was still, instead of working for Idea as I do, if I was working for myself, this is actually something I'd look at, because I can see I could make money out of this as an ISP, with not having to do a lot of hard work, which is my favorite way of doing hard work, which is not to do any work or do minimal amounts of work. I am extremely lazy. I've said to this before, but
that's no secret.
Isn't that, I mean, it's about working smarter, not harder. And I think this is
absolutely. If you want to solve a hard problem, give it to a lazy person. There you
Right.
go.
Exactly. There you go. And I was very good at doing that.
And Yellowfin is awesome for my side business. I'm selling Beanie Babies. So like the business intelligence I get from that, it's just on. I love it. I've created this
Beanie
whole
Babies, are
dashboard.
they still a thing? I should let my daughter
I'm totally
know.
kidding, but like that would be a great use case. But yes, they are still a thing. I still haven't found the Princess Diana one. I'm trying to look for it, but if you have one, let me know.
Well,
but yes.
my daughter's 25 now, and she used to have a Beanie Baby back in the day. So I maybe have to ask her. Perhaps she's sitting on a fortune, and we don't know about it.
Yeah, it's worth 50K, so you might be.
What? Oh my! No, she never had a Princess Diana one, but yeah, it is what it is. All right, and for those of you that want to join us as well in the chats and community kind of things, and also know a bit more about the AI, we've got an AI helper, I believe.
On the website you can go under support on the website. There's 2 different AI helpers there, and that's a really important thing for this week. Actually, one of them there is to ask Yellowfin, so you can say, "How do I do this in Yellowfin?" And the other one is a code assistant. So you can say, "Hey Yellowfin, I want to do this in code. How can I do it?" And it will give
an
you
artificial Rob. There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing I will say is, we've got a really extensive Delphi library that's been written up. We have got code for Java, and as an example to connect up and use. And we did some really great integration with BMC for their Helix platform. So some of the work that we did for that, which allows you to connect up and use Yellowfin directly through BMC Helix and their Innovation Studio. I took some of that and created a Java sample, so that works really, really well. And also, I've got a new .NET C# example for anybody who's developing that. I was talking to a software house this week who've got 70 .NET developers who are looking to try and get empowered up to use kind of Yellowfin to embed in. So if anybody wants access to any of those samples, sign up to the sandbox, email us through if there's anything that you don't see there that you kind of want access to, and we're more than happy to have a conversation and also help you with that custom login screen. So.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we are waiting for you. Come, we are waiting.
Just don't do the bit where you put my email where sandbox.yellowfinba.com is, please. Please.
Yeah, otherwise you get a lot of notifications. Now that would be quite fun. So
just to drive innovation around, or inspiration, should I say, around this, we've got a couple of links that we can share up. Again, a couple of QR codes on the next slide.
Okay. I'm gradually driving my keyboard, you see. So.
So the first one there is just about, it's really for ISVs, about how you can boost your ROI and empower customers. It sums up a lot of the stuff we've spoken about today, and is a great talking point for internal discussion around this. Obviously, get people to come watch the session that we've done today, but that's a really, really useful read. But also, we've got the embedded analytics walkthrough. And that's really, really cool if you're thinking about embedding analytics in. It shows you a whole load of use cases and examples. It's about, I think it's about 15, 20 minutes long, the video, but it really dives into a lot of the things that you can do, and will give you a wealth of ideas and help you build that roadmap for your next steps. So that's definitely worth a watch if you're interested in moving forward. But first and foremost, hook up to the sandbox. I think those links are in the email anyway that comes through, so that's definitely the best place to start.
Yeah, cool. And go to the YouTube channel as well, because there's all sorts of videos in our old channel, and we're gradually building up a stack in this channel as well. So good stuff. Okay, well, thanks a lot, guys. I'm gonna I think I can click on the button that says stop sharing. Let's see if that works. Oh yes, it does. Yeah. So apparently my mouse works on some parts of the screen, but not others. I don't know what's going on. Windows.
All right, I'll get out of your machine now. I'm sorry, that was just a joke.
Yeah, there you go. It did say Montana has connected and is downloading your document. There's nothing.
Yeah, if you just see
there,
if you see curl or like WK running in the background, just
yeah, well, you know, it is what it is.
it's not going directly to my Dropbox or anything.
Yeah, I'll draw your attention to. Oh, I can't point to it. Yeah, I'll draw your attention to the mask behind my head. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes,
so,
I do see.
I've had a past back in the day. In the 1980s, I'll give you a little anecdote. Actually, in the 1980s, I actually, when I was a youth, I actually had the police turn up at my house after I don't think it was accidentally, but I hacked the British Telecom Directory Inquiries Network. I was a Unix guy, and it was running on Unix, and I used CU. And in those days, Directory Inquiries was a free call, and us kids, as we were, used to dial it and then use CU, which is the Unix call method, to go from that to anywhere in the
serial
world.
line, I believe.
Yes,
right?
and on a serial connection on a dial-up line, and they came and knocked on my door and had a very uncomfortable conversation. They actually gave us an amnesty, and we were for about 3 months. We tested the new directory inquiries that was going online, which was a bulletin board system in those days, and in return for testing that, they kind of just ignored the fact that we'd probably done something borderline illegal. I'm glad, because otherwise it would have been
that's how
horrible.
it should be. They should knock on your door. Look, we are really upset with you, but would you like to help us?
They said a lot more than that. But it was very weird, because you know, when you're a kid, you don't expect it to happen. You know, you've seen the War Games, the movie. It's behind me. You can't see it behind my chair, but yeah, it is what it is. So yes, I've been there, but I wouldn't recommend it. I have actually led a very blameless life despite that. But I was a kid, you know, and you were doing those things. So okay, all right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Next week I will come back with a new improved mouse lookup. I think it's my motherboard, because my mouse is working fine.
Yeah. You might just need to use your Mac next time.
Yeah, the problem, well, I can do, but there's some issues to do with making all of that live. But yeah, why not? I love the Mac. It's great.
I'm kidding. You know.
Yeah, no, I could do it. It's I keep thinking about.
But just make sure your PC has Linux on it. That's all.
It has got Linux running in the background as well. Actually, I've always got Linux somewhere. Come on,
good.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Great session. I think it was very good. I think we're getting into the groove a bit. I think it's you know, being very useful. And I think, you know, if you're on ISV and you're watching this, I know this bit you've probably either disappeared by now, or you've fast forwarded over this. But genuinely speaking, if you are reading the transcript or you're still watching, this is a great system. It's an easy thing for you to put in your software, and you know, please your users or please your bottom line, whichever way you want to approach these things. It amounts to the same thing, because a happy user is going to stick with you or actually purchase your software in the first place, and happy users are of course your source of income. So why not do this? You know, most of the implementation behind the scenes is our problem at Yellowfin, not yours. That's a great way of doing business, I think. You know.
Yes.
All right, thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you at the same time next week. But from Rob, Stephen, and Montana, and myself, see you soon.